What's up, guys? Coming at you with another video, and today we are talking about gym etiquette. Not just gym etiquette here at the Barbell Club, but hopefully some gym etiquette to consider that might help you in the facility that you train in. Some of this, I hope, is a review for most of you, and you're like, yeah, duh. But for some of you, maybe it's going to be enlightening. Either way, I hope to offer some information that's valuable and can help you keep the facility that you train at great. So come along with me. And the overarching theme for this video, or perhaps the umbrella that all these topics are going to live under, is don't be an asshole. It's kind of that simple. Think as you exist in your gym. Would I be doing this if my mother was watching me? Or would I be doing this if this was my home or if this was my stuff? Things to consider. Let's get into it. Guys, don't track in dirt and mud. It's pretty easy, it's pretty simple. Most of y'all are hopefully in the habit of just wearing different shoes to the gym than you actually train in, and then changing into them once you get into the building. However, your facility might not require that, and that's okay too. There's been a lot of times that I've worn the shoes to the gym that I'm going to train in, and I've never managed to track in dirt and mud. So if you live in an area where you get weather changes like we do here in Wyoming, pay attention to where you park, pay attention to where you walk, and pay attention to what's on your shoes. And if they're dirty and you don't have different ones, slip them off. It's that simple. Wipe your feet, and again, just treat the place with respect, because here's what you don't realize. That dirt and that mud gets into the equipment, especially the cardio equipment, and it breaks it down, and it causes bigger issues than you probably would ever realize. Plus, let's be honest, it feels good to be in a space that's clean and that's organized. On this episode of Please Don't Do That, a couple of these things are not like the others. Racking your weights. It's super important. And like it or not, this is the same social test as putting your shopping cart away. Rack your weights. It just makes everything better. And I think karmic debt, it's gonna help you reach all your other goals in life too. Put like weights with like weights. The trees are organized in a certain manner so that they go small plates at the top, larger plates as you work down. And a lot of them are even labeled probably in your gym. So pay attention to where you're putting your weights. And don't put a 25 over a 10, and then a 5 over the 25, and then a 45. Don't create the plate chaos, because it makes everyone's life more difficult, and yours as well. Rack your weights and put your shopping carts away. All right, guys, when you're racking your weights, you're probably familiar that in some of your gyms, you've got equipment such as a power cage or other plate-loaded machines where you have plate storage on them. So one of the things that I like to consider when we go through this is, again, I'm putting the weights away in a manner that's going to be helpful for me when I'm putting the weights on the barbell. Most of the gyms that you attend, you'll find that they have usually a few different versions of plates, or even let's just use 45s for an example. So on this cage, we've got two 45s on the bottom of each side. The first one is what I call a deep dish plate. The other one is a thinner one, and they're in the same order on the opposite side. So that way, when I'm coming over here to squat in this power cage, I can grab the deep dish 45 and my training partner, or I can go back over there and grab the same plate and it's already there. There's this theory that, well, 45 pounds is 45 pounds, but research shows the right amount of OCD helps you build more muscle. But it's going to be helpful for you to find matching plates if you're putting them away in that same manner. So trying to leave things better than you found it is always helpful, but balance out the machine that has plate storage on it so that it's even and you have the same amount of plates on each side and the same type of plates so that it's a grab and go, and it makes life so much more convenient for you in the future or for your fellow gym member. Because at the end of the day, you're part of a community, so it's probably worth treating it as such. Guys, wipe down your equipment. Nobody wants to sit in your slop. Depending on what you're wiping down, you may consider spraying the rag first and then wiping it down. so you don't get a bunch of spray maybe into the hinge points or the areas of the machine that are intended to move. But wipe your stuff down. You don't have to detail it, but wipe down what you touched and were sweating on, because I think people like to see that. And everyone thinks, oh, it's because of COVID. Actually, it's just because people are gross and no one wants to sit in your sweat. So wipe your equipment down. It's helpful and it's good gym etiquette. Please don't do that. Try to not drop your weights unnecessarily. You're not Ronnie Coleman. It's hard on the equipment and it's just not necessary. This whole thing of like, if you can pick it up, you can set it back down, not always true. If you're training to failure, especially with the dumbbells, sometimes to keep yourself safe, you fail and you kind of have to dump them a little bit. But there's a difference between dumping them and just throwing them. Dumbbells bend, believe it or not. And you go to a lot of your kind of, heavy focused strength training gyms, and you'll start finding that the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s are kind of always bent because it's a weight that a lot of people can do, and they find pride for some reason in just throwing them. It's not helpful. Honestly, it's not cool. So don't unnecessarily drop your weights. And recognize too that you've got designated areas in most gyms for your Olympic lifting and your power lifting, and with associated bumper plates and things that can help protect the floor and protect the equipment. It's a gym. Weights are sometimes going to get dropped, right? But don't do it intentionally. Don't be a jerk about it, Treat it nice. This one, guys, I'm gonna encourage you to not monopolize equipment. Be aware of your surroundings. If it's a busy time in the gym, be mindful to what you're doing and how much equipment that you're, keeping in your possession, so to speak. If it's a busy time, you might not be able to run as many super sets or giant sets if, the place is buzzing. The other thing is with, I'm gonna pick on, powerlifters, which I am one. I don't think it's necessary to use the same squat rack for 2 hours, okay? There's a way that we can fast track this, and I just encourage you guys to be mindful of your surroundings and your other members that are part of this same community. So be careful on trying to monopolize equipment too much, whether it's deadlifts, whether it's a squat rack, whether it's a bench press, just be mindful of that. And even your cardio equipment. A lot of your gyms will have a regulation that they're asking you to keep your time on cardio equipment to maybe 30 minutes or less if it's a high volume time, but it's just things to consider. And again, that's what it comes down to. It's just being considerate for your fellow gym members. So try not to monopolize things. Don't jeopardize your membership by sneaking people into the gym. It's not cool. It's a business. And honestly, it's kind of about honesty and integrity. The gym's a really cool place that we can not only build our bodies, but we can build into the versions of ourself that we want to be. And that includes kind of how we do everything. As they say, how you do anything is how you do everything. Consider that. Don't be sneaking people in. If it is your first time at the gym, make sure you know your gym's rules, regulations, dress code, all the things that are going to depict how you're supposed to be in that facility. Make sure you know them. And if you're an OG, make sure you're up to date on that. And if you've been in and out of gyms your whole life, I think there's some things that we're talking about in this etiquette video that are kind of across the board, like standard practice. But make sure that you know your personal community's rules and regulations, because they might vary a little bit and they might have different reasons for said things. For example, the Barbell Club, we also dual as a medical facility where we do physical therapy out of this space. So that's what adds an extra level of integrity when it comes to cleanliness and things like that. Outside of that, again, it feels good to be in a space that's clean and that's organized and that's taken care of. I want the community members that I have to treat this place like it's theirs, like they are a member of this community, that they are a member of this club. I want them to treat it like it's theirs, and that's important. So just make sure that you're up to date and up to speed with any rules, regulations, dress code, etc. that your gym might have. just be aware of how much noise you're making. Sometimes it makes people uncomfortable, let's be honest. It's a gym, you're gonna be working hard, you're gonna make some noise, and that's fine. But just be mindful of how much and when. Like if you're stretching your hamstrings and you're screaming, like you're doing a one rep max deadlift, like So just be mindful of that, be aware of your surroundings and who's in there. We have a wide range of members here, and it's really cool to have the meatheads training right alongside the lady that found strength training from physical therapy because she wants to keep her back strong. And it's really cool that we all have different goals, but with strength training is what helps us reach them. So just be mindful of your surroundings. Again, that's one of the biggest trends of this, is being aware of who's around you and what you're doing with your actions. And sometimes you're just too noisy. I always say, you want to impress me? Lift some heavy weight in silence. Guys, if you're using a piece of equipment and it doesn't seem to be acting right, or it's got a funny click, or maybe the display's not working, when you notice things about the equipment, let management know, because they might not be aware of it. They probably are, but just in case, let them know. It's been helpful for me when members let me know about something that wasn't on my radar. We're all busy, and there's lots of moving parts to running and owning a gym. So if something's not right, don't just go to the next machine and ignore it. Just make sure that management is aware of that, and they'll likely appreciate that, especially if they didn't know. It's your community, it's your gym. Let's keep it great. If you find yourself interested in dating someone at your gym, I think the gym's a great place to meet a significant other. A hell of a lot better than meeting someone at the bar, right? I would say church and gyms is probably where you want to meet your future spouse. However, if you do decide to date someone at your gym, please leave the drama for your mama. If that relationship goes south, don't bring that into the gym. This is a sanctuary for people. This is meant to be a safe place, a place where people can check out of the world and check in to their fitness goals. And sometimes it's about building muscle, but other times it's just about for our mental sanity. I always say, joking or half joking, that the gym is what keeps me from killing people. This is my mental therapy just as much. So leave your drama and your personal baggage, check it at the door. Again, maybe a great place to find a future spouse because it's fitness oriented, but if it goes south, nobody wants to hear about that drama. Ain't nobody got time for that. When it comes to filming in the gym, like we are today, you need to be mindful about who's getting in your shot and who's in frame. Whether it's pictures or whether it's video, be sensitive to who's around you, because there's a lot of people that don't want to be in your social media posts. So pay attention to that and be sensitive to that. When you're posing, again, we're a gym that provides opportunities for lots of different goals, including powerlifting, including bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, you end up posing and checking your physique out and things like that. Be mindful of who's around you. And I often ask people, we have a rule here that says we don't want you training without your shirt on. If you're doing a physique check or you're posing after your workout, then that's one thing, but we just don't want you to have your shirt off when you're working out. But again, be mindful of who's around you and who might feel a little uncomfortable when you're doing that. I see a lot of people set their cameras up and then they get in a spot that's a really busy lane for the gym. And a lot of times I see that by the dumbbells. And it makes it not accessible. People can't go in and grab the dumbbells that they want. If it was me, I would just go in and get what I want. I don't care if I interrupt your frame because this is a gym and I'm here to work out. But for some people, you might have one of the ladies that just feels uncomfortable and she's like, well, I just won't go over there. So be mindful of where you're filming, whether you're filming your exercises or your workouts or your posing. Just be mindful to, again, who's around you, what areas you're in the gym, how busy the gym is, and what makes the most sense. A lot of facilities will have designated areas for posing and posing rooms. So just try to be sensitive to that and use appropriate areas for appropriate things. This is how some of you wash your hands. Man, I love y'all, but some of y'all are savages. And just like that video showed, people sometimes just treat things like they really don't care. Keep things tidy. I always tell my guys, I'm like, leave this bathroom like your dream girl's going in behind you. And ladies, it's the same for you. Sometimes y'all can leave it nasty as well. Treat the bathroom well. Be tidy, be clean. And this leads me into another topic that's not fun to talk about with people, but pay attention to your personal hygiene. If you know that you have a tendency to maybe have a little BO, wear appropriate deodorant. Make sure you're showering. Make sure that you're smelling good when you're in the gym, because it does make it an unpleasant experience for other people. So just be mindful of your hygiene. And when you use the bathroom, try to leave the bathroom like there was no evidence that you were there on anything, on water, on the smell, on the seat being up, on pee on the toilet. Just don't be gross and try to leave it like you weren't there. Be a ninja. Be a bathroom ninja. All right, guys, when we're using dumbbells, let's say I was gonna do some lateral raises right now. I'm gonna grab them from the dumbbell area and I'm gonna step away from it so that other people can get in and access that. I'm not gonna stand right in front of where I picked them up to where I'm blocking all the other dumbbells that people might need to access, to grab or to re-rack things that they're using. I'm gonna step back out of the way if I wanted to do some lateral raises. So that, again, I can still use the mirror here, I can still see what I need to see, but I'm not in anybody's way. And I'm paying attention to what benches might be in use. If this bench was in use and I knew that they were in between sets, I'm not gonna come stand right in front of it. I'm gonna be sensitive to who's around me and how busy the gym is. Yeah, if I'm the only person in that gym, then yeah, maybe I'll do them right where I'm at, but just get in the habit of stepping away from where the dumbbells are stored and doing your set that way if you want the mirror, whether it's bicep curls, lateral raises, anything like that. The other thing that I'll do is if you do need to be close to the mirror because it's a busy time in that dumbbell area, then what I'll do sometimes is I'll step down more towards the heavier dumbbells are because those aren't as frequently used and I can kind of be out of the way there. But just be mindful of not standing in the main traffic area for people dropping off or picking up dumbbells. And that goes for when you're exercising or if you're posing or if you're filming or any of that. So just something to be mindful of. All right, my friends, that was some Gym Etiquette 101. We just scratched the surface. There's many other things to consider and many small things that I could pick on. And again, I was having fun with some of that and I was teasing about it. But it's just things to get you thinking about what your experience is like in the gym. And some of you probably saw some of these things I was talking about and be like, yeah, that's like my big pet peeve. We've all got them, but just be mindful of your community and your surroundings. And in a world where you can be anything, be kind, right? Because this is a space for growth and for development and for support. And we want to be part of a community that does that. There's going to be people in your facility that are brand new to that. And it's taking a lot of courage for them to even walk through that door. So do what you can do to make their experience as inviting as possible. So don't forget, on this YouTube channel, I encourage you guys to like, to share, please subscribe, and let's help us spread the good word. And in this effort to live the one more rep philosophy, both in and out of the gym, I encourage you guys to build the better you.